Diplomats was the top selling artist on the DVDs. Any DVD that you had, if it had that Diplomat ego on there, that logo, that motherfucker was sold, no questions asked. They were that hot. This is the DVD game and the mixtape game grew neck and neck with the Diplomats and G Unit. So these were flagship artists on the DVDs. If you had anybody from G Unit or the Dipset on your DVDs, you was out of here. I had actually managed to become, after a while, through hard work, I ended up being one of the top DVD guys. It was me, Cocaine City, that's French Montana, Arliss Michaels, that's Real Talk TV, Forbes DVD, that's Doggy Diamonds, The Come Up, that's Fendi, Sub-Zero, DJ Deep Freeze. We were like titans, and we made lots of fucking money, but I never looked at it as pirating or anything like that. I shot my own videos. I ended up learning to edit, but a lot of the music that we had on these DVDs, it did belong to somebody. So the copyright violations, that ended up probably being the death of DVD footage because we were using other people's music. But the industry, I made so much money. The DVD game fueled finance, what you see is Gully TV online right now. I started out going city to city, Philadelphia. I started in Atlanta, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, New York, Harlem, Cleveland, Ohio. Buffalo, New York. I was going to all of these different cities, man. And back then, we were so big, you could just pull up with your camera in any hood on any block. Nobody asked you, no questions. If they seen that camera, they ran to it.
This video talks about how hip-hop really moved before the internet, from the perspective of people who grew up with deep respect for the culture and saw this era unfold firsthand. Before YouTube, before blogs, before social media decided what people saw, hip-hop operated through a very different system. If you wanted to know who was next, who mattered, or what was really happening, you didn't look online. You went outside. You paid attention to what was moving through the streets, what the crowd was buying, and what they were talking about in real life. The streets wasn't just part of the culture, the streets was the platform. This whole system was already in motion before 50 Cent ever broke into the mainstream. His first official single, In the Club, wasn't released until January 2003. By the time that record dominated radio and television, the mixtape and DVD ecosystem had already been operating for years, quietly building artists, shaping taste, and deciding who mattered long before the industry caught up. There was nothing random about it. It wasn't chaos and it wasn't luck. There was a system in place that people understood even if it was never written down. Artists created a buzz by being heard and seen in the right places, while DJs broke records by putting their name behind them. DVD creators decided which moments were worth documenting, and vendors on the streets became the distribution network. This allowed fans to spend their own money and decide what was hot.
And what you see here behind me, this is DVD history right here. This is DVD royalty here. Look, that's the Come Up. It's one of the top guys from back then, Fendi. The Lions Den, Sub-Zero. Can't forget about this. Game Over, Troy Reed, Kent. This is like the gangster content was built upon these releases. Street Stars by Troy Reed. I ended up putting out like 7 volumes. This is my first one right here. This is my first Gully TV DVD right here. And I have on here, I have Papoose, I have Gucci Mane, I have Cat Williams. I didn't have any knowledge of Photoshop, or I didn't even have any connections to do that. So I copied and pasted this. Literally, I took a sheet of paper and I cut out newspaper articles and I put it on a sheet of paper, glued it, and photocopied it. And this is my first DVD. And I went on to just keep on dropping volumes. And there's some real legends on these joints. These are timepieces. Look at this. This is Arliss Michaels, Real Talk TV right here. This is one of the top guys that was doing it at the time.
In cities like New York, you could see the system working every day. Jamaica Avenue in Queens, Canal Street in Manhattan, Fulton Mall in Brooklyn, Fordham Road in the Bronx, folding tables along busy sidewalks, black CD binders full of mixtapes and DVDs, portable DVD players looping clips to pull people in. If something was hot, you didn't need promotion. The crowd told you everything.
This right here, what you're looking at, this is a high 8 tape. One in my camera. I started shooting with high 8 tapes, and you see it says Sparks on there. That's Emilio Sparks from State Property. I did a whole DVD with him.
Mixtapes were at the center of it all. Burned CDs with handwritten track lists, exclusive freestyles, early versions of songs that never made albums. DJs had real power because they controlled access. DJ Clue, K-Slay, Who Kid, Green Lantern, Envy, Drama. Each name carried weight. When a DJ stamped something, people paid attention.
These were like titans in the DVD game. Look at this, I still got these joints. Milton Butch Jones from YBI, Scarface for Life. This is Street Stars joint, Troy Reed. The Rayful Edmonds story. When Rayful Edmonds hit the DVDs, I believe Rayful Edmonds was the top selling DVD. I ended up meeting Kirk Fraser, who produced it. Shout out to Kirk from DC. I ended up meeting him. It was so much money. That DVD changed the game. That was the best selling DVD. People used to steal it. The Kirk Fraser one, that joint was so hot. It was the first time that people had really got any insight on Rayful Edmonds. People had heard about him. He was on, I believe, 2020 back in the day with Barbara Walters. But when that shit hit the streets, Preacher Crew, T Stucky, Cocaine Cowboys, the Alpo story, these aren't something that I would throw away. These are parts of history, for real.
Before blogs existed, DVDs were already doing the same job. They were introducing artists, shaping narratives, and preserving moments that would have otherwise disappeared. If you wanted to understand the culture beyond just the music, this is where you looked. Smack DVD became known for capturing battles and raw performances because nothing about it was staged. Artists showed up knowing there were no second takes and no safety nets. The Come Up DVD, led by Fendi with Jordan Tower behind the camera, leaned more toward early access and artist development, catching artists in studios and real conversations just before they reached mainstream. Cocaine City DVDs told street stories directly without dressing them up. Sub-Zero focused on nightlife and underground scenes with the baddest chicks the city had to offer. DJ Vlad's early DVD work treated hip-hop figures like people whose stories mattered long before long-form interviews became common. The Beef DVD series helped put real context around conflicts that had lived as rumors for years. These DVDs weren't just documenting culture, they were shaping it.
The vendors, the street vendors, the barbershops, the hair shops, the flea markets, clothing stores, bodegas, they ended up being the distribution network. People like me, we were suppliers. We would pull up, pop the trunk, the corner store, the hair shop, the barbershop, they would give you a shot. They would buy, if it looked it right, if they could read the track list and see who was on the joint, they was grabbing it because they know that shit was sold the same day.
One of the clearest examples of how this system worked can be seen in French Montana. Before radio hits, before chart success, he was behind the camera hustling DVDs. In creating a platform for others, he created one for himself. For Max B, his voice, his slang, and his presence spread through mixtapes and DVDs long before mainstream recognition. His influence lived almost entirely inside street culture. When he was removed from that environment and sentenced to 75 years, it was a reminder that this era still carried real consequences, not just careers. What made this system effective was that nothing about it was fake. You couldn't buy likes or inflate stream numbers. Fans saw everything in real time with no edits. Your swag, how you dressed, who you stood next to, how you carried yourself on camera. If people didn't connect with you, the DVD didn't move. And if the DVD didn't move, your momentum stopped. The streets decided who was next because the streets were paying attention to all of it. Artists like Red Cafe, Graph, and Saigon didn't need algorithms to tell them they were building something. Their momentum built gradually, moving through the streets as people passed the music hand to hand. By the time labels caught on, the work was already done.
This was proven to work. Guys left the DVD circuit and went straight to Rockefeller. Sam Scar was a battle rapper who was battle rapping in Fight Club, appeared on some DVDs. Next thing you know, he in Jay-Z's office. French Montana probably would have never ended up in the position that he was in without his own vehicle, Cocaine City. Cocaine City is where people first heard him. It was basically it was an audition. It was your own demo tape. If you owned a DVD, it was your own demo tape. I became celebrity caliber overnight. Like, I would be at airports, people want to take pictures with me, autographs, people invite me places. And it's funny that it ended up, it ended up being like a punishable crime, a lot of the things that went down with the DVDs and shit like that, because the record labels was calling us. I used to get emails from Def Jam saying, yo, the first time I interviewed Redman, I got an email from Def Jam. Yo, Redman has a new album coming out. Would you like to interview him? Yes, I will.
Eventually, that level of influence stopped being something institutions could overlook. When money starts moving outside established systems, the systems respond. Studios began seeing their films circulate before release dates. Labels watched artists build leverage without going through traditional channels. Revenue was no longer flowing in predictable ways, and the structures designed to manage it started to break. And when a system can't account for where the money is going, it doesn't adapt quietly. It corrects itself. In 2007, that pressure became public when DJ Drama and the Gangsta Grillz operation were raided and thousands of mixtapes were seized. For people inside the culture, it felt like a line had been crossed. What had once been tolerated was now being challenged directly. Although DJ Drama and Don Cannon were arrested and their studio was raided, they never ended up being convicted on those RICO charges and went on to release Gangsta Grillz. Around the same time, the transition began. Blogs centralized the conversation. YouTube scaled it. Dat Piff moved mixtapes online. When DVDs started disappearing, platforms like WorldStar picked up the same raw, unfiltered content, just delivered through a screen instead of a folding table. Over time, algorithms replaced street feedback, and control didn't disappear so much as it shifted into the digital space.
I didn't just sell my own joints. Back then, there was so much money involved with underground media back then. You could go places and there was guys who would sell you, mainly Africans. Africans are guys from the Middle East. They're the ones who had the high-powered duplicate machines and packaging and all of that. They were on another level, but they would sell you basically suitcases. A suitcase with wheels on it. They would roll it out to you. The suitcase would be shrink wrapped. You tear the plastic off of it, you open it up. It's totally packed to capacity with DVDs and mixtapes. I made as much as money selling mixtapes as I did with DVDs. They kind of went hand in hand. This is an era when a lot of the cars that were out in the streets at the time, we still had cars with TVs in the headrests, and the DVD players with the CD players with the DVDs and shit like that. So a guy didn't ask any questions. Guys would roll up on me, man, and I would just empty the clip. I went to other cities hustling. I was on Memorial Drive in Atlanta for a whole summer, getting it. Parked right in front of a fucking a liquor store, man. I would pop the trunk, and guys that was coming out the liquor store, once they see what I had, they were just buying, and it was crazy. It was so much money. And the guys that we filmed, that we profiled on these DVDs, a lot of them ended up becoming stars. Papoose, Uncle Murda, Maino, the Diplomats. The Diplomats was the top selling artist on the DVDs. Any DVD that you had, if it had that Diplomat ego on there, that logo, that motherfucker was sold. No questions asked. They were that hot. This is the DVD game and the mixtape game grew neck and neck with the Diplomats and G Unit. So these were flagship artists on the DVDs. If you had anybody from G Unit or the Dipset on your DVDs, you was out of here.
What Gully is describing is how momentum actually worked back then. Artists didn't become stars because someone approved it. They became stars because their faces, voices, and presence kept showing up where people were already paying attention. When a DVD kept selling and a mixtape kept moving, that was the signal. By the time record labels caught up, the decision had already been made in real life. And once that blueprint existed, it didn't disappear. Blogs didn't replace what DVDs did. They copied the format. Early YouTube didn't invent artist interviews or raw moments, it digitized them. The structure stayed the same, only the delivery changed. Modern platforms didn't invent hip-hop media, they inherited it. Before YouTube, the streets controlled hip-hop. Before blogs, DVDs were the platforms. And everything that came after was built on that foundation.